Welcome to the FunkMMA Strength and Conditioning Podcast, hosted by Funk Roberts, former professional athlete, certified MMA conditioning coach, and master of metabolic training. Funk is one of the leading conditioning coaches in the martial arts industry today and has a following of over 500,000 combat athletes around the world. His workouts and training principles have been used by many professional fighters, including fighters in the UFC, Bellator, and ONE FC, as well as World Muay Thai champions, Roy kickboxers, and ADCC BJJ champions. Join me in welcoming your host, Funk Roberts.
We are live. And welcome to the FunkMMA Strength and Conditioning Podcast, episode number 7. And in this episode, I'm joined by my man, Andy T.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic.
Good to have you on board here. Today we're going to talk about overtraining and the signs of overtraining and things that you can do to avoid overtraining. I like this. I like this
it a
this
lot
topic.
too. I think it's actually not talked about enough. Is the things that get talked about a lot are about training and working out and all that stuff, but overtraining, serious thing that you might not even know you're doing.
Totally, and a lot of people have these signs and don't realize, like I see it all the time. And there was a guy at the gym the other day who was talking to me about how, I may have talked about this before, but this just comes to my mind is where he was training every day, for 7 days, 14 days straight, maybe even 16, because he was just getting into Muay Thai and he didn't want to lose his Muay Thai and he really wanted to get better and better, and he was just trying to push himself. And I'm like, man, you need to take a day off. I can't take a day off, man. I gotta if I take a day off, then I'm gonna lose. I'm like, no, you're not actually. You're gonna recover and you're gonna be able to come back better. And so I was trying to help him, because I said what's going to happen is you're going to overtrain and you're going to start getting injuries, and then you're going to be on the sideline for much longer than you would if you took one day off. You're going to be on the sideline for a month. And lo and behold, I think it was a week later, I came in and he's like, oh, I got ankle and my neck from thinging. My ankle started to hurt, and then he was out literally for 6 weeks. And it was and you could see him every day. He's a personal trainer, but he's also fighting. So fighting with Muay Thai. And so you could see it in his face every time you go to see him. He's just in doldrums, he's feeling like shit because he can't train. And now all that time that he spent in, as I put in, quotations, training hard, training as much as he can, and then without taking that day off,
Wasted
because now, he's out 6 months or 6 weeks, and then he's got to come back and, try to do it again.
And on top of that, the time that he's spent out, because training and recovering and scheduling everything and getting better is a skill in itself. You got to put in the time to figure out how to do it properly, and he's out for another 6 weeks. He's not going to have 6 weeks extra experience, because it's all experience, right?
That's right. And now he's changed up. Now he's actually training proper. He's taking that day off and listening to his body. Anyways, we're going to get into that, but it's just, there's a lot of people out there that, they have these signs that we're going to talk about that they don't, that you need, I think what's really important, that you need to notice these signs that are happening, and be aware and oh shit, okay, I'm feeling this way, or my mind's feeling this way. And then back up and look at the last couple of days, or last week, or last 2 weeks. Have I been overtraining too much? Do I need to take a break?
Yeah, because you got to spend the time building yourself up rather than breaking yourself down.
Totally. Yeah, man. So, anyways, before we get started, we're gonna hook up our sponsors.
Why do we laugh when we say sponsors?
I don't know why, because we have the best sponsors on the planet, and you guys should be excited about these sponsors, because you guys get the hookup, because our first sponsor is FunkMMA.com, the #1 strength and conditioning website on the planet, the best Facebook page on the planet, the best Instagram page on the planet when it comes to strength and conditioning, specifically for MMA, martial arts, combat fighters. Go to FunkMMA.com and download our 6 free programs right away. You just go to FunkMMA.com, give me your name and email. Don't worry about giving. I'm not asking for, your fucking firstborn blood. Like, just give me your goddamn, not asking for money, just your name and email. And you're going to download 6 free programs. One of the programs actually talks about overtraining. So things that we're going to talk about today, you're going to get. You're also going to get my sprint training program. You're going to get my abs and core training program. You're going to get my 5x5 circuits. You're going to get just cool, awesome information to get you started with strength and conditioning as a martial artist, as a fighter. And also, you're going to go to nutrition4fighters.com. That's our other sponsor, Nutrition for Fighters, where we also are going to hook. That is the number one Facebook page, anyway, for Nutrition for Fighters, like specifically for fighters. That's run by our boy Andy T here. Mm-hmm. And that page is going to give you 3 free programs. One program is our Power 30 Foods, which will give you the 30 foods that you need to have in your pantry, your freezer, your fridge, 24/7, 7 days a week. When you go to the grocery store, that's the list you're going to use. What else does that page have, Andy?
It has a 1-day budget meal plan that I made, which is so for under $15 a day, I show you how to produce 7 meals out of that, and that's something I used during my training camps when I was on a budget. Because when you're training to fight, 9 times out of 10, you're probably not making the most income. So any of you fighters out there, that might help you out a little bit. And then we also got a recipe book for cheat meals, for clean cheat meals. So, you can satisfy that craving for burgers and replace it with a healthy version of burgers or what have you. So you can go pick that up at nutrition4fighters.com. Like Funk said, just name and email, and then it'll be right in your inbox.
That's right. Cool, man. All right, so let's get started here. Let's let's start this podcast off right, just because overtraining is huge. And when it comes to training, a lot of athletes think that doing more is better, especially when you're kind of new to something. It's like, okay, I gotta do more, or even if you have a fight coming up, or even just like, obviously most people who are watching this or listening to this podcast probably never are gonna fight or never gonna compete at a high level, which is amazing still, because you just love your sport, but you just keep going. Like, if it's not just your workouts. Sorry, it's not just your martial arts training, but it's workouts too, because you go to the gym. You go, you want to go to the gym every day. You want to do your martial arts every day. You want to stay in shape, and that's good. Like, I love the fact that most people want to do that, but there is a strategy behind doing that. You can't just go. You need to do the things that will help you to recover, that'll help you to come back stronger, that'll help you to get better.
Yeah, especially like you said, if you're a beginner, your work capacity and your workload isn't going to be the same as somebody who's more advanced, who can do more longer.
That's right.
So you should, like you said, build yourself up first.
Totally. So it's about training smart, and I'm sure you've heard that many times. You got to train smarter, not harder. But it's true. You have to train smarter, not harder. Whether you're 19 years old, because we know that 19-year-olds can get away with going, 14 days straight training hard
and
eating like shit and still getting ripped and but honestly, when you turn like 24, that's when you start to get a feel for, oh, wait a minute, why can't I eat McDonald's and still train? When you're like 24, and then obviously that's when it starts to happen. You can't go drinking and then come back like you could when you were 19, 20, 21, and at 30 it punches you in the face. You're just like, wow, like I can't do this anymore and still perform the way I did before.
Also, if you are young, like 19, 18, whatever, or younger, you should be proactive now. Yes. And not do all that shit and then wait till you're 23 and then, slowly scale up. And like you said, by the time you're 30, you're feeling it from something you wouldn't even feel when you're 18. So be proactive as well. So
yeah, 100%. You need to start doing that like right away, only because it's a habit, right? Like you're creating a habit. You're creating something that is something that's going to be ingrained in your lifestyle. So you got to start now and start all the yoga and all the stuff that we're going to talk about as part of your, life, mm-hmm. and making sure that your body's in best shape, fueled with the best nutrition, like all of that stuff is all part of, avoiding overtraining. And once you have that while you're younger, then it continues. But you don't have to start when you're young. If you're 50 years old and you've never ever kind of like had a proper training program, you can still start, like you can still go, okay, I'm 50, I haven't been to the gym in a while, or I'm 50 and, I still want to train jiu-jitsu or whatever it is. Okay, so now I've got to start to train a little bit smarter. I still have to do my strength and conditioning. I still have to obviously do my technique, but now I've got to, again, when we read some of the things that we'll avoid, you've got to add all that stuff into your life and still have a prolonged, so you can train when you're 60, when you can train when you're 17, like Ron Van Cleef. I don't know if you guys know who Ron Van Cleef is. He was in UFC 6, I believe. He's the Black Dragon. Go look him up, the Black Dragon. He was like one of my favorite martial arts in the movie. He was a actor, but he was also a martial artist, obviously, because he was in the UFC. Was the Black Dragon. I loved him when I was like young and like in the 70s. He was like my hero, man. I can't believe Ron Van Cleef was. And then all of a sudden he was in.
It looks like Will Smith and Muhammad Ali smushed together.
Ron's the man. So anyways, Ron's like, I think he's like 70 years old or something at the moment. I can't even remember how old is he. How old is he right now? Do you know?
I'm loading it up.
Okay, yeah. So and he's still doing jiu-jitsu. Like now he's really competing in jiu-jitsu. He was like a karate guy before and martial artist, and of course he was in the UFC. He fought in the UFC a couple of times, I think. And like him himself is like, he said, well, how old is he? Do you have it?
Internet's not
okay.
loading up.
Okay, anyway, so so he's old. He's in the 70s and he's still training. Like if you go to his Facebook page, just posts videos of him still training and still competing. And that's kind of like what I'm talking about. Like I want to be able to compete, and not compete, but I want to be able to train hip pads, like smash pads when I'm 70. Like I don't want to stop when I'm 70. Even when I'm 80, I want to be able to be doing things. Like my mom's 74, I think, and she's still really active. She plays tennis, but the point what I'm trying to make is whether you're 40, 30, 50, 60, you can still start this and prolong your martial arts career. You know what I mean?
It's never too late to start. And like you said, I see it every day. There's a ton of older guys in the gym that are still training, maybe not as frequently, but on a daily basis for the most part.
Yeah. So even, and again, that's, you want to be, if you love the sport, you're going to train as much as you want to train. So you have to do what you can to get the body right. So anyways, Andy, let's talk about overtraining.
Ron Van Cleef is 74, by the way.
Okay, thank you. Let's talk about overtraining.
All right, let's do it.
Do you have overtraining again, you want to prevent injuries, you want to prevent poor performance. That's the key to overtraining. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about is, what are some of the signs of overtraining? What are some of the signs? So basically overtraining is, simply put, first of all, what is overtraining? Overtraining is, simply put, a state where you're putting more stress on your body on a day-to-day basis than it's able to recover from. And that's stated from the Journal of Medicine and Science in Sports and Exercise. So overtraining is, like I said, simply put, a state where you're putting your body more stress on the body on a day-to-day basis than it's able to recover from. And that happens more than people think. But the thing is, it's not just the physical stress, right? It's not just the physical stress, because most people think overtraining is physical. But overtraining is also psychological. There's also mental aspect to overtraining. So, one of the things we wanted to first talk about before we talked about how to avoid overtraining, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about, like, here are the 10 things you can do to avoid overtraining. You need to know the signs of overtraining. Like, what should you be looking at? What are some of the signs? So some of the things that we have, as signs are like increased resting morning rate. So I don't know if anyone, do you take your resting morning rate in the morning? Like,
I don't.
Yeah, so there are apps out there that you can use that just like literally once you wake up, you check your resting morning heart rate, and obviously in the app it'll tell you where you should be, what's normal, what's really good. Like I know like 40 beats per minute, like 40 is a good, or 50. Those are really good resting heart rates. I know like Michael Bisping had a really high resting, really low resting heart rate, and which was really good for him. You know what I mean? So
yeah, 40 to 100.
42. Yeah. So anyways, the lower it is, the better. So like 40, 50 is really good. 100 is going to be a little bit high. Well, it's going to be really high. So, but the apps will tell you. So if your resting heart rate is increased when you wake up, so basically what you do is you just wake up and then you use this app, and it will tell you before you even get out of bed, it'll tell you what your resting heart rate is, and then you can start to monitor it over weeks, right? So you just give it the first 7 days, look at what it is over 7 days, and then maybe 14 days, and then you can start to figure out what's happening in your life and what's causing your resting heart rate to be high, or if things are great, then it could be low. So that's one sign. The other sign is feeling chronic fatigue throughout the day. So regardless whether you exercised or not, you're always tired. You're always dragging your ass. Like, doesn't matter how much coffee you have. Doesn't matter how much, whatever you use to try to increase your energy throughout the day, you just never have that energy. That's chronic fatigue, and that can also be a sign of overtraining.
You could also attribute that to several other things, but it's kind of a different feeling. Like, when, like, if the feel in your body.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Another one is feeling listless, like you have no strength. So like when you go to the gym and, you've been training hard for however long it is, and you're supposed to be making gains, you're like, okay, I should be making gains. I mean, I've been doing the bench press every day for 20 days straight. So shouldn't I be getting stronger? Why am I getting weaker? Well, obviously, because you've been doing bench press every single day for 20 days, you're going to have no strength. You're going to start, and not just there, but like in the gym when you're training, sometimes you don't have that strength that you should have. And it's not just one day. I'm not talking about this is happening on one day. I'm talking about, you've been putting in the work and you're still not getting stronger, or you're still not, have the strength that you're looking at. That's another sign of, wait a minute, maybe I'm overtraining, and maybe that's why I'm not getting
accumulated results versus one day, like one session.
Yeah, exactly. Another sign of overtraining is increased water retention. So if you're always, retaining water, of course, there's a lot of other things that water retention can relate to, but I'm just giving you signs of overtraining, physical. So like when you start to see these things, you should be saying to yourself, okay, my morning heart rate's increased. I'm always tired. I'm holding water all the time. Like, that's when you should be going, shit, okay, let me just think about what my training schedule's like. So like increased water retention, slow recovery between sessions. So like it used to take you 1 day to recover, or, a few hours to recover, whatever. Now it's taking you 2, 3, and even 4 days to recover from a session 3 days ago. That's when you got to start to think, why am I not recovering as well as I should? Well, you could be overtraining. Decreased physical performance. So again, you've been training, and then all of a sudden you hit this like barrier where you start to suck every time you go to train. Your performance is shit. You're not hitting pads the way you should be hitting pads. You're not rolling the way you should be rolling. Like, your performance on the mats are not where they should be,
That happened to me last week. On Friday night, I had a really heavy week. And then on Friday night, I hit that exact same thing you said. Just wasn't there, like, body wasn't working, wasn't reacting the way I wanted to react, and like just getting owned. And then I knew after that, okay, time to rest. So the 2 days after that, I took off.
There you go.
2 days, not even 1 day. 2 days of good, proper nutrition and a lot of sleep and rest and all that stuff. And I knew from that Friday night session that I pushed my limits that week.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you're able to see you're seasoned with knowing the signs of overtraining, right?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm smart enough. Well, one is like I have all the pillars in place for like the recovery and the rest, and like minimal stress and all that stuff. And then that leaves me a lot of time to really tune into how my body feels. Yeah. And I can tell even before a session starts, usually how that session's going to go. So.
What are you training each week? Like, break down your martial arts training every week.
I will do that.
Like just not like intensity. Just what sports? What are you training every week?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, wrestling, strength and conditioning, do yoga, and then MMA. So everything all together. And then
that's each week.
Yeah, we'll do some boxing and other skill things depending on what I want to work on, but essentially
those are your key classes. Mm-hmm. So if you think about that, Andy's on the regular is doing 4 martial arts, throw in yoga and strength and conditioning, every week. You got to have, but he can do it. Like, so you can have all these things in place and not overtrain. You just have to listen. Sorry, you just have to listen for the signs, and the signs will tell you, oh shit, okay, this is due to 100% due to this week. I need to dial it down for the next couple of days and then come back stronger.
Or you just switch up intensities when you train, because like every session you can't go 100%. So, you know, maybe the morning is more technical, the nighttime I go harder, and then I wake up and I'm sore. I'll just go do some drills, like just get my technique work in and not push my limits so hard. But you should, the one thing that I think with workout programs or training schedules, people get so fixated on having to do every single session, every single time, can't miss a slot, can't miss any of the times that my workout schedule says. But really, you should dial back, and when your body is sore, change the intensity of your training.
Yeah, so many people need to, like, they and you know, I'm not, we shouldn't be saying so many people, because I've done this before where I'm like Andy said, fixated on something like a workout program that I can't miss it, and I've got to go heavy. Like my wife, sometimes she does this where she has her ANGWODs, which are like killer workouts, and she'll get to a point where she's like, okay, I gotta get my ANGWOD, and then there was a point where she was doing them like every 6 days a week. But those workouts are fucking insane, and they're very hard and they're very long, and the body starts to break down. And it's just because we always want to get better. You know, it's not negative, the reason why we do this. It's just, we just think that if we continue to do more, our body's going to get better. But what's happening is it's breaking down everything. You're not improving your performance. You're not improving, you know, sometimes if it's fat loss you're looking for and you do more and more, you actually start to retain that fat. The body's like, fuck, man,
stress.
It's so stressed out. Cortisol is a stress hormone. Your body starts to increase in cortisol, which means you're going to hold fat, especially around the belly, because you're continuing to do more. And you're like, man, I'm running every day. I'm on the treadmill sprinting every day. I'm in the gym every single day. I did it for the last month, and I still look the same. Why is that? Well, that's because you're putting too much stress, and your body can't recover so that you can grow, so that your performance can get better, so that you can burn fat. Like, that's what's not happening.
But there's good news, because the good news is if you do overtrain, then you know that you have the work ethic. You just need to educate yourself and be smarter about how you carry out your training. Because if you flip it and you're not training hard enough, you can't fix that. But if you're training, you can. But if you're training super hard, you just have to educate yourself and pull it back
and dial back. Yeah. And man, that was awesome that you said that, actually, because that's I love that, the fact that if you do overtrain, then okay,
good problem.
It's good, because I have that work ethic, which is what a lot of people lack. So having that work ethic, and then if you're part of the funk tribe, it's all about having the work ethic. That's what we do. That's what makes us different from other people in the world. Like, we have the work ethic. We will put in the work. We strive to be better. So one of the things that a lot of the funksters do, including me in the past, is we just overwork. So now we're trying to dial that back, but work smart, put other things in place on those, in that, you know, that timeline of a week. We're gonna learn, switch up intensity, put something mobility instead of something else, and kind of like, we're still doing work, but we're doing work smart.
You know, it's funny. I think it's you have to be realistic with your training schedule, and when you're so driven and motivated to work out, you get a little bit unrealistic because you're so pumped up to just get in there and do all the work and get all this shit done. So yeah, being a bit more realistic with how much the human body is physically capable of doing.
For sure. So the other things that these last two things are going to be key, because when you're always having constant aches in your joints, in your bones, in your muscles, yes, you're going to be sore sometimes. But if you're constantly have joint pains and your bones are hurting and your muscles are hurting, then you 100% overtrained. 100%.
Yeah. There's a big difference between training while you're sore and then training with, like you said, all the nagging injuries. There's a big difference, because you know, if you do 2 sessions a day, you're going to be sore. When you train the next time, you just lower the intensity, versus, you know, waking up and training. You're not necessarily muscle fatigue sore. You're
Right.
just in pain all the time, right?
Yeah. And lastly, catching colds and other illnesses. Like if you're always getting colds, if you're always sick, or if it just all of a sudden pops up that, like, you know, you can't get away from being sick for, you know, a week or 2 weeks or 3. Like when we got back from Thailand, man, I was sick for like a month straight. Like,
well, yeah, you also pushed really hard. So when you got off the plane, you're already back at 100 overdrive and doing all the work. And that's what now, actually, because that happened months ago. And since then, you've traveled 2 or 3 times. And every single time you've come back, you've dialed it down.
Totally.
You haven't been sick since the last 3 trips that I've seen you. So
yeah, no, 100%. That was the key, and I wasn't expecting it. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm Superman. Fuck, I'm super funk, man. I can do whatever. I can do anything. So I should be able to come back from training twice a day in Thailand, being on the plane for 24 hours, 30 hours in the air, and then the next day get up at 6 a.m. and fucking go straight back to work.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be able to do that?
I can't believe you did that.
Yeah, well, I paid for a month because I was sick for a month straight. I think it was like maybe 6 weeks straight, man. I was sick as a dog, always getting sick, had a cold. Anyway, the other thing about signs of overtraining, overtraining is not just physical. So a lot of it is psychological. A lot of it's mental. A lot of it is things that you wouldn't think about overtraining. So a lot of things we just talk about were physical, but the other caveat is the psychological signs, like lack of desire to train. Like, so sometimes, and it's happened to me where, you know, I'm on a mission for something, if it's cardio or if it's to get ripped or whatever it is, but I'll get up and I'm like, man, I don't feel like training, when before I would always feel like training. You know what I mean? Like that desire, the lack of desire to train, the lack of desire to, to go to the gym, and it takes you everything to get to the gym. But again, it's not just one day, because sometimes there's days where you do lack desire, and that actually, the day you lack desire is actually something that you should be thinking about. Maybe I was overtraining, but if that continues to happen, then you know, okay, there's something wrong here.
Right. So like if it's like multiple days in a row that you wake up and you're like, I don't have it in me. But like, for instance, 2 days ago, I woke up and I was like, maybe I'll just sleep through my morning training session. But when I showed up and I put in the work, I felt great after.
Right.
But definitely if it's like 2, 3, 4 days in a row, we're like, okay, I'm not going, then there's a bit of a problem.
That means that you actually should be thinking about what's caused you to get to that point.
Right.
Right.
I think one thing that's very important about the mind is switching it off sometimes, because like if you're always on all the time, it gets super tough to juggle everything all at once. So turning the mind off for a bit and just take some time for yourself.
Yeah. Another thing is just losing interest in activities that you used to love.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the same. You know, training's different, but like if you used to love going on bike rides with your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever it is, and you're just like, I don't feel like doing that anymore. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. That's when you should be thinking, wait a minute, I love doing this. Why don't I feel like doing it anymore? They'll go up. You're probably because you're overtraining in other parts of your life. You know what I mean? That's stressing you out.
Yeah, for me, it was swimming. So, you know, having a high training load during the week, and then on the weekends, you know, my buddy has a pool, so we'd go swim over there, and they're all fucking splashing around and swimming and shit, and I just want to stand still in the water, where otherwise I would have been doing laps, right?
Right, yeah.
So I feel you on that.
Fuck, man, that's crazy. Your libido, you lose that libido. So, but you know, like as you get older, you lose your libido anyway, and you got to find ways. Like taking the blue pill to help you.
Enzyme. No,
What did you say?
Enzyme.
Yeah, you lose your libido sometimes, you know, like when you're overtrained and you just like, it's again, the lack of desire to train, you're irritable, you're grumpy, you're not getting good sleep, you lose your libido.
You know what that reminds me of? I was watching a K1 documentary with John Wayne Parr, and he was in his house with his wife, and he was training really hard for a camp, and he was cutting weight and all this shit, and they were talking about, I guess, their love life or something like that. And he's like, oh yeah, by the time I get home, it's don't even touch me, like I'm gonna go sleep on the couch type of thing, like libido gone. Training super hard, cutting weight, And yeah, I don't know why that popped in my mind.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's great because it's happened. I mean, it's happened to me in times when I've been on a mission, and sometimes it's like, man, I haven't had sex with my wife in fucking forever. You know what I mean? Where before I'm like sex fucking fiend, like, weekly, daily, but it's sometimes you just get to a point where like, then that's overtrained. Like, like usually I'm fucking, I'm sprat, I'm ready to go. And then
no energy,
and
nothing.
and no nothing. I just don't even like. It's not even an inkling in my head, which is like not necessarily normal for me. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, those are some of the signs, and those are important because once you get those signs, and once you kind of like, okay, oh yeah, I remember Funk and Andy talking about this. What you do with that is you sit back and then you look at your last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you say, what's going on in my life in the last 3 weeks? Like, what's happening in my training? What's happening in my normal life? And let's kind of figure that out, especially when you're training at first. But you're going to learn now that it's regular stress in your life that can also lead to overtraining, and you have to have that dialed in. But you have to look back and go, okay, the last 3 weeks, how was my training schedule? Okay, well, did MMA one day. Then I did funk strength and conditioning workout the next day.
Then I squatted.
And then what?
Then I squatted.
Then I fucking did squats, and then I did Muay Thai, and then I did BJJ, and then I ran, and I did sprints, and then I did this, and then I did, you know what I mean? And you just start to look at the pattern, and then you're like, oh fuck, no wonder I feel like this, because I just went. Because the other thing that happens is sometimes you don't realize, like, right. You know what I mean? Like when you're so like focused and you have other things going on in your life, and you're driven. So you already have that work ethic of going to the gym every single day or going to wherever it is every day. You don't realize, like, wait a minute, when's the last day I actually took off? Right. Like that was like 3 weeks ago. No wonder I feel fucking, I don't want to fuck my girlfriend or my husband. I'm grumpy all the time. I don't want to go for long walks in the park like I used to like to do. You know what I mean?
And I think once you get good at recognizing the signs of overtraining, you don't even need to look back 3 weeks. Right now, it's like a 3-day spread for me. So what happened in the last 3 days? Once you get good at it, because you'll never get to the point of like what happened in my last 3 weeks. You'll just be like, what happened 2 days ago?
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. That's where I'm at. That's where Angela's at. That's where you're at. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, even my sister-in-law Charlotte, she's there. I think she's there now, where she can kind of figure out, okay,
all the guys
doing
the
same fucking thing over and over. Like sometimes I have to tell Charlotte, I have to say, look, you've been doing your kettlebell flows for the last month. You need to throw something in there that is different. At least 2 or 3 days a week. 2 days, like something totally different.
Yeah, just a different energy system being worked on, because like recovering from a heavy squat day versus recovering from hard pad work day, different type of feeling when you actually recover. Like after heavy squat day or whatever, what have you, it's harder to get up the stairs than it is to do it after a Muay Thai session.
Totally.
Right? So
absolutely. Yeah. So
fork in the road.
So now that you know the signs, let's talk about how to avoid overtraining. Now you're not going to 100% avoid overtraining, because like we mentioned before, you're gonna always get signs. Like Andy just mentioned the other day, he knew that he had been overtraining.
Yeah, it's weird because there's like a fine line that you don't know if you cross it until you cross it.
Right.
So like sometimes you think you're sore, but really you're just being a bit of a bitch. Totally. And then sometimes you're actually sore and you push through it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's weird. So you don't know until it happens. So you're right. It's hard to avoid. Yeah, it's hard to avoid, but it's the key to not being on the sideline like crew Carl over at the local gym there when he was off for 6 weeks, and honestly he was off for 6 weeks. That's the difference. You don't want to be off for 6 weeks. You want to be off for a day or two and get back to it. I think here's the difference is catching your overtraining 1 day after overtraining versus catching your overtraining 7 days after your overtraining. So it's easier to recover after 1 day of realizing that you're overtrained versus having to recover from 7 days of being broken. That's right. Okay, so let's go to the 10 ways to avoid overtraining. Number 1, schedule regular rest days at least once a week. That's got to be in it 100%. When I say rest days, I mean complete and utter rest day. Mine's Sunday. Your Sunday. Mine is Sunday, where Sunday's the day, because I know my week is hard, It's actually, I do kind of a day and a half.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Sunday's my full day where I sleep in, I eat very well. Maybe I'll take another nap, and then I'll take an Epsom salt bath, and then I'll do all the good recovery things. So Sunday's my full day.
Yeah, and I think, on one of the past podcasts, if you listen to the podcast with John Spencer Ellis, he talked about that, like having one complete day to yourself, like just a week not doing anything. Like, I mean, aside from your daily life activities, I'm talking about like, nothing. And having that day for your body to recover, your mind to recover, prepare for the week, get excited for the week. A lot of times when you sustain from something, you get that excitement. Oh, I can't wait to get back to the gym. I can't wait to, you know what I mean? Like, I can't wait. Sometimes it's good to like pull back and just like, and this like, it's like an elastic band, you know what I mean? Like you take the elastic band and you're kind of pulling the elastic band back, and then you let go and it springs forward. That's what you're doing every Sunday or whatever day it is. You're kind of like going, okay, let's bring it back, and when you pull back an elastic band, what happens? It's starting to build that energy. It's building everything so it can explode forward, So that's kind of like what you're doing on that rest day. You're pulling back on everything so the body can recover and get ready to like explode throughout the week.
You definitely need to decompress because you're not able to sustain such a high output all the time. And you know what? One day a week is great, but if your body needs it again, then take another day. Like it might be two during the week, especially if you're just starting off. You don't want to kill yourself all at once. You want to work your way up.
In fact, I tell my fitness folks it's like 3 days. You don't have to train 4 days a week. Like if you're doing my metabolic workouts, honestly, 4 days a week is enough because it's all about getting consistent and making sure that you get those 4 days a week. Once you start getting the 4 days and you see how your performance is better, how your fitness is better, your body's better, then you'll automatically add the 5th day, and you'll automatically add a 6th day if you really want to. But you honestly don't have to train more than 4 days. 5 days I say is ideal, and take the other 2 days, 1 day off just to do like more recovery stuff, and the other day completely do nothing. If you're a fighter and you're training and you love your training and you're doing multiple martial arts, then and I know that you still want to get your strength and conditioning in, and I would say at least once a week, but that one day you're doing absolutely nothing that has anything to do with activity.
Yeah, that's that's pretty good stuff. But that second recovery day you're talking about, so one day you're doing nothing. What are you doing on the second one?
You could do yoga. You could do some mobility work. You can do some stretching, some like flow. You can get a massage. You can just do like things that treat your body right. I think that's what John said. Like
Foam
things
rolling.
foam rolling. Like extended foam rolling, because you should be foam rolling every day, at least 5 minutes a day. Like you don't have to do it like forever. Just foam roll for 5 minutes a day. Just pick a spot, foam roll it, and you're done. You don't have to. Foam roll is one of those accumulative things that if you continue to do it, the deep muscle tissue stuff, myofascial stuff, your tissues, your joints, you're going to see results if you just do it like just 5 minutes. You don't have to do the whole body, but on that day, you may want to go, okay, I'm going to do a little extended version of this.
Right. I think that's one thing that's underestimated, not the foam rolling part, but another thing is changing intensity of your workouts. I know we just talked about this, but like there's a kind of a misconception that everybody thinks that they got to go their hardest all the time. I'm in the gym, I'm going to go a gajillion %, when sometimes, you get more out of technical work, more out of drills, more out of a lighter run, more out of more technical sparring. Like, you don't have to give your heart and soul
on every session,
on every single one where you're going full clip.
Yeah, we'll get to that because that is actually one of the ways to avoid. But so the first one, number one, write this down, is schedule a rest day and abide by that. Take that at least 1 day. If you're just a fitness person, I would take at least 2. If you're just starting out, I would take 3, and just let your body recover and work out that way. Number 2, schedule a full week off. So every 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, take a full week off, man. Like just, you've done great. Your work ethic has been amazing for 6-8 weeks. Your performance is improving. Your body's looking better. Your cardio's looking better. You're doing better. In life. Let's take a week off. And I know that it's hard for people to
Fathom.
think, to fathom that shit. If I take a week off, then I'm going to lose everything I just worked for. But on the contrary, it's just like that elastic band, pulling back. And this is studies show, like, basically what we're talking about is not just like things that we're just pulling out of our ass. It's actually, there's a lot of studies and a lot of research behind everything that we're saying here. You'll see that in the book. So when you read the book, you'll see the research that goes behind all of this. We're just kind of taking out the research and giving it to you, but definitely a deloading. It's a deload week, right? Like if you look at some crazy like workout programs like 5x5 or whatever programs, there's always, even our strength program, there's always a deload week. In my membership site, there's always a deload week where you take that week off or you do a little bit less, but it's that week off.
And another important thing about deloading is when you take that week off isn't binge drinking, eating fast food, doing whatever, like living a shit. You don't change your lifestyle. Everything remains the same. So you eat the same, you eat healthy, you reduce your stress, you do all those things. So don't think that deloading means
partying.
Giving everything up and then just fucking going gung-ho.
No,
it's just resting.
No, that's huge, man. That's massive, actually, you said that, because that is what people think when they think deloading. They think, I'm taking a week off. I'm going to fucking go, drink like a fucking fiend. I'm going to fucking eat cake and shit. Like, no, it's not that. It's I'm going to continue to eat. I'm going to start to plan for the next week. I may do, again, a lot more recovery stuff. I may, go do some cryotherapy or floating or go get 3 massages this week or, just maybe go to
sauna, steam room, hot tub.
Things that I'll go to the spa, maybe go to a day spa, like like treat yourself, treat your body, whether you're a guy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Go like, oh shit, I want to go to a spa and like really like get your feet done, get your
go to a nice place and have a nice meal. Like this is something I've been preaching a little bit more lately, but that like health is the best investment you can make. So during that deloading week, do all the things that'll make you happier without compromising your health.
Totally. And then and when you're fueling your body and getting it ready for the next 6, 8, or 10 weeks that you're going to go hard, and whatever that next program you're going to hit, you're going to be ready physically and mentally as well. Yeah. So that's number 2. Number 3, commit to 8 hours sleep. Man, you need your fucking sleep, dudes. I hear too much. I can't sleep. I can't get sleep. But I'm on my phone from, or my iPad from 9 p.m. until I fall asleep. Or I like to use my phone or my iPad, to help me sleep. But that's
brutal.
That's not actually what's happening. It's keeping you awake. And the studies that have shown that going to bed, reading,
listening, or watching.
Going to bed on your iPod or iPad is hindering your sleep. It's hindering that sleep. It's not allowing you to sleep. It's not allowing you to settle. You need to decompress, like at least an hour. Turn everything off that's related to social media. Get off Facebook. Get off YouTube. Get off the Funk Roberts Fitness University, and get yourself ready to get some sleep. And it's about going to sleep early and getting up early. You know what I mean? Like get to bed 9, 10 o'clock. There's nothing on TV that you need to watch at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock that, that's gonna supersede how you're gonna feel the next morning, so that you can perform, that you can go to work, go to school, and just be the best person you can in the best mindset,
Yeah, it's, functioning while you're under rested makes a huge difference, and committing to that sleep 8 hours, sometimes more. And then guys like me and Funk were lucky enough or fortunate enough to be able to take that midday power nap if we need to. So sleep is probably one of the most underrated things as far as like just overall happiness.
Yeah, and like again, the more sleep you get, the better, the more gains you make. The more gains you make in the gym, the more fat you're gonna burn, the better performance you're gonna have. Like that's proven again. Research, science proves that the more sleep you have. That's why do you think there's so many like sleep
aids,
supplements and aids out there?
Zetamine, melatonin.
You know what I mean? Because people don't get enough sleep because they're on their social media and all kinds of other stuff that and not doing what they need to do to get the sleep. And there's like, I can't sleep. Well, what are you doing that's that's giving you this lack of sleep? What's the stress in your life? What are you thinking about when you're going to bed? You know, do you have a TV in your room? You know, like what are some of the things that are happening? Oop, that's my phone, and there you go. Sorry. What are some of the things that are happening in your life that, you know, are
causing you not to sleep?
Causing you not to sleep. You got to look at that, right? And you got to change some things. Eat what you're eating. You know, a lot of times it's nutrition that is the lack of sleep, because you're not eating the right things. Your body's not digesting, and it's keeping you up. There's so many different things that you should be doing, but the key is getting that 8 hours. And if you need to take a nap, come home from work or come home from school, take a quick 30-minute nap. That'll, like a power nap, nothing over 30, nothing really over 45 minutes, because then that's too much sleep. Mm-hmm. If you take that mid-afternoon nap or mid-afternoon power before you go to the gym, you know.
We do it at the gym. So the guys at Evolução, when we train in the morning, we just take a quick power nap after training on the couch. Like 3 or 4 of us are all just passed out, snoozing there for a quick 30, 45 minutes. Then we wake up and then, you know, we get ready for the nighttime session. But one more thing before we move on from sleep is something that's worked out very well for me, and it works 2 ways. If you're having a hard time sleeping, something that works out very well for me is a nice hot bath. And I'm not talking about warm bath. I'm talking about if you ever cut weight before, you crank that bitch like hot. I use Epsom salt. We'll talk about that a bit later. And then you go in 30, 45 minutes, you sweat it out, you rehydrate. When you come out, you're naturally tired. Like, it's time to sleep. Your body wants to rest. So if you're having any problems with that, take a quick hot bath and guarantee you're going to pass out within the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Now, if you're someone who's what they call a night owl, because I hear that excuse too, I'm a night owl, man, I can't sleep. Well, you got to change your philosophies and your mindset, because you're believing that you're a night owl like that. So you're buying into it, but you don't have to be a night owl. In fact, you can start to do things that will get you to sleep early. Start doing things differently. It's like George Costanza, you know, he did the opposite. So do the opposite of what you would do that's keeping you awake. Right. And then, you know, go to bed early, get up early. You know what I mean? Like, switch that up. You know, I'm up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning, but I'm sometimes dead on the couch at 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. And that frustrates Angela a lot, because she wants to sit down and just maybe watch a bit of TV together, have some time. But because I get up early and I'm go all day, I'm in bed at 8, and I'm not missing anything. Like, I've been doing that for years, and I don't think I've missed anything that I can't, you know, that's hindered me from the success that's happening in my life, and you know, the health that I have.
I've done both, but definitely I've done like the night owl thing just because my schedule forced me into it, and then I've done the early morning. In the early morning, there's something about, for me at least, waking up before other people wake up. Like, you just feel better. 100%.
Mm-hmm. And you're just clear. You're clear. And I'm not saying that I do, like, listen, when I have an actual project to do, then sometimes I'm up 4 days straight. Like, and I only have 2 hours sleep a day. That's just because that's something that's I've got a project. I need to get it done. And I'm not like, this is where you got to kind of like, you know, if I want to, you know, if I want this more than I want to breathe, then I've got to do the things that I have to do. So that means I have to stay up all night and get it done, maybe sleep 2 hours, get up the next morning and do it again. Like, that does happen 3-4 days in a row if it's a project that I'm working on. But in general, if you look at the whole year, it's getting up early and getting that 8 hours sleep a day.
Boom, sleep.
Yeah, sleep, baby. Next up is post-workout nutrition. You know, we talked about how important nutrition is just in general as a fighter for fueling your body and recovery, but that's the same thing here. It's that recovery portion of it. It's the nutrition, making sure that you have the right carbs and proteins and vegetables to help with tissue regeneration, to help with energy replenishment, to help so that the next day you can recover faster and get back to training, that the next day you have that energy. It's all that nutrition, and that is one of the biggest misses in fighters and in fitness as well, is that they're afraid to eat, especially carbs, and eat the right foods after the training session's done.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Like, even if you do 2 a day, like, that food that you eat after the morning session is going to fuel you for what's going to go down at night.
Right.
And if I had to pick one meal to be extremely meticulous with, it would be post-workout, because that's when your body is breaking down. That's when you need everything in. Man. What's a go-to post-workout meal for you?
For me, the a go-to post-workout meal is rice. I like white rice with chicken and a shitload of vegetables, whether it's a salad or like steamed broccoli. Like that would just be a perfect post-workout for me. What about you? What do you eat? What's your go-to?
I like to cook, so I got a lot of things, but recently it would be I like to do baked sweet potatoes, but like I like to cube them and then like do a little marinade and garlic and all that stuff and then bake them. Barbecue ribs, I like beef ribs. That's just me though, really preference. And
that's good.
And then vegetables. So like you said, keep the vegetables very simple. So a salad or some grilled or some steamed vegetables, and then that's it. That's it.
And make sure you have a good amount of carbs there because you need to replenish. The other thing that we do, like sometimes for post-workout, like on the weekends, if Angela and I go hit pads or, have a good Muay Thai session or a good session at the gym, where sometimes we will do one of her 45-minute, 60-minute workouts because we really want to push. We'll go to Whole Foods and go to the salad bar and just destroy that salad bar. Not the food bar, just the salad bar where we get like good nutrient dense foods, throw it into a salad, a big ass salad, and just like gorge. But it's gorging in good nutrient dense foods like the vegetables and some fruits, and we put in chicken salad and tuna salad. So that's kind of like what it's topped off with. It's amazing, man. It's expensive, but it's worth every penny.
I do that on Saturdays as well. Again, expensive but worth every penny. I go same thing. Just go to this. It's called Heaven's Grill.
And that's where you go.
Yeah, I get a nice grilled salmon and beef ribs, and then a double order of grilled vegetables, and then garlic rice. I think at least one time a week you need to go through that little ritual of either Whole Foods or whatever your spot is, but overeat a little bit. Like enjoy.
Yeah, but clean, not clean
clean.
food. This is not your cheat meal. This is like your clean eating meal that's going to be bigger than your regular meal.
Yeah, so when you eat throughout the week, you don't really get to like that bloated feeling.
Well, you shouldn't get that bloated.
Yeah, you shouldn't get that bloated feeling. Saturday, I get it a little bit, but I follow it up because after the Saturday morning, I do the eating, and then Saturday night, Sunday, I'm off.
Right.
So it's kind of my segue into my recovery weekend.
Totally. Give your body some time to rest up and recover,
eat.
and eat. Okay, so number 5 would be watch your carb intake. So this is a big one, another big one. It's you got to get enough carbs. So when we say watch your carb intakes, you really have to actually get enough carbs because sometimes, when you're, trying to lose weight there will be times like when you're cutting weight that you're going to not get carbs. But there's a lot of times where people are fixated on this low carb. I got to watch, I can't have carbs, but they're still training 4, 5, 6 days a week. By that third day, you have zero energy. Carbs is the energy that you're going to need to get through these workouts. That's why you eat slow digesting carbs before your training to help you get through that training session. And then your fast digesting carbs, so rice, potatoes, sweet potato after your training, because that'll help you replenish the glycogen stores. I know you hear us saying this all the time, but it's repetition. We got to repeat it so that it's in your head so that you just don't even have to think about it. It just happens. But we see it all the time at the gym. Guys, they don't eat carbs.
Mm-hmm. Carbs should be your best friend.
Yeah.
I'll just give a simple slow digestion carb you can use for pre-workout. Just so that people have something to take away. This is super simple. Okay, go to the grocery store, pick up a bunch of organic bananas because they're fast digest, like they're easy to digest, right? And there's no prep. You take it, you peel a banana, you eat it, and then you go train. Yeah. Banana and a protein shake.
Apples and pears are good too, man. I remember when I was back in my, traditional training, bodybuilding style training, Mike Metzger, Mike Metzer, I think it's Mike Metzer. He's a bodybuilder, and he used to eat a pear before he went into the gym and to do one of his training sessions at the gym. But his training was a little bit more intense. Like his bodybuilding style training was intense. He had less rest in between sets. And I started eating a pear, and I would get so much energy and sustained energy throughout like an hour-long session that used to be my big thing. So like pear or apple before too, because those are slow digesting carbs that you can digest and it will just slowly seep into your body. So you have that. And also sometimes you can take BCAAs in the middle of your training session to help get you through. But I mean, it's the carb that you have at the beginning. Don't rely on the BCAAs to get you through. Have that carb, but then sometimes, even the carb's not enough depending on how long you're training. Sometimes 2, 3, 4 hours. It depends on where you're training and who you're training with. You may need those BCAAs as supplements to get you through, but it's the carbs that are most important.
Definitely for the energy part of it.
Yeah, for sure, and recovery.
Yeah, so make carbs your friend.
Yeah, but again, it's there's this time and place for carbs. There is a time and place for low carbs, which is around your training, which is outside of your training, but around your training. That's when the carbs are most important. So that's when you can really say to yourself, okay, I'm going to the gym. I'm doing one of Funk's workouts. I know it's high intensity. It's metabolic. Okay, so this is here. Listen, here's your rule. This is simple. I'm going to the gym. I'm doing one of Funk's workouts. I know it's high intensity workout. Cool. I'm going to have a banana with protein or an apple with protein or, a pear. And that's going to be my pre-carb with protein. Then after, I'm going to have rice or potatoes with, protein and vegetables. And that's go-to every single workout. That's your go-to. You have like a go-to pre and a go-to post, and you're fine. You have nothing to worry about. You'll have the energy to get through the workout, and you'll have the recovery. Metabolism will still be going. You'll be burning fat. You'll recover faster. Your muscles will build. And it's not just before a Funk workout, but it's during your training, your MMA training, your Muay Thai training, your kickboxing training, your boxing training, your jiu-jitsu, especially jiu-jitsu, because you tend to jiu-jitsu classes tend to be a little bit longer, right? Because you're rolling longer. Like most Muay Thai classes are an hour.
Right. Yeah, jiu-jitsu is a bit longer because, like you said, the rolls, and then if you stay for the extra rolls, and the type of energy system you're using in jiu-jitsu is always like, usually, it's
aerobic. It's the aerobic system.
Yeah, constant grind all the time. There's always resistance somewhere.
Right.
And then one more thing about carbs is you have to recognize that not all carbs are made equal.
Right.
So do a little bit of research. Bread, pasta,
bread,
no thank you.
Yes.
Don't do that stuff before training or after training.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, actually, because let's focus on the carbs being rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
maybe quinoa. Let's keep that shit simple.
And bananas. I always put bananas.
Bananas, for sure. But let's keep that simple. And then your pasta and bread you could have on your cheat day.
Yeah,
let that be your cheat, and that's not even a crazy cheat. You know what I mean? Like if I had like sometimes I'll have lasagna as my cheat meal, right? Like chicken lasagna, and I'll post it. Oh yeah, here's my cheat meal, chicken lasagna. People, that's a fucking cheat meal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a cheat meal for me because I don't eat pasta like I used to. I used to eat pasta every fucking day and be big and puffy and gross and hold water and back hurts and
the bowel movements are gross.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. Whenever you have a cheat meal, the next day when your shits are disgusting.
You pay for it.
You pay for it.
Pay for it.
It's so brutal. And you feel like shit too after a cheat meal. The next day, I feel like I drank.
Yeah.
Like whenever I cheat, like I have that cheat meal, of a nighttime cheat meal. The next day, I honestly always feel like I'm hungover.
Yeah. Another thing about cheat meals. Sorry, just real quick.
Yeah.
I think another important thing about cheat meals, and this kind of relates back to training. So the same way that you don't have to go full clip in training and you can kind of tone back the intensity, you can do that with the cheat meal. You don't have to eat 10 pizzas as your cheat meal. Maybe you have a slice of pizza. That's a cheat meal.
Yeah.
Or a chocolate bar. That's a cheat meal. Like, don't go crazy. Just because it's your time to cheat, don't go overboard.
Yeah. Exactly. Keep the cheat unique. How do we rhyme that? Keep your cheat
unique. You had it, I guess.
Yeah, that doesn't rhyme. We'll figure that out.
Your cheat right. Elite.
Keep your cheat elite. Keep your cheat elite.
Yeah, cheat elite. I like to cheat. Eats, and beats. Oh.
All right. Awesome, man. So that's number 5. Watch your carb intake. So whether it's rolling, whether it's Muay Thai, whether it's MMA, whether it's just workouts, have that pre-workout, either pear, apple, banana with protein, and your post, rice.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Saying watch your carbs instantly means take out your carb, like meant in people's heads. So it's weird to hear watch your carbs the opposite way,
totally.
like taking it in.
Yeah. Watch your carbs on this is your carb intake.
Yes. not taking it out.
Yes, totally. You want to keep the carbs in your wheelhouse for sure. I love it. Okay, number 6, keep everyday stressors low. And that's big. That's another big thing. All of these are big, but it's so funny. Again, it's like we always equate overtraining to like physical. But as I mentioned before, there's a lot of psychological, there's a lot of mental, there's a lot of emotional stressors that increase stress. Because remember, overtraining has to do with, putting your body in a state where, you're putting more stress on the body on a day-to-day basis than it's able to recover from. So because of that, you need to check both your physical stress and your mental stress. So everyday stressors in your like things at work, you got to monitor your day-to-day life. You got to, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, things that are happening at work, things that are happening at school, things that are happening with your house, with your kids, like things that people die, things happen, shit, you get into arguments. Like there's so many things that you can't avoid. It's part of life. Our bodies do need to go through stress, but you need to have a handle. What I like to say is you need to tackle your stress head on. Like you need to deal with your stress, bills, money, that's a big stressor for people. As you can see, if you look in my house, right there's a box filled with unopened mail. I know what those are, but like I know what those are and I deal with them. But a lot of times we just try to push things aside and hope that they go away. You know what I mean? But they don't go away. They're always going to be. There's always going to be until you deal with it, until you tackle it head on. You may not like alleviate the stress, but when you look at what's stressing you out and you kind of what's the word I'm looking for?
Evaluate what's stressing you out.
Yeah,
you're able to kind of put in your head and actualize how
you're going to deal with it.
The stress actually is. And for me, when I'm stressed out, if I put something in the back of my head and it kind of resurfaces when I'm driving, I need to take myself out of my mindset and just take a deep breath and just be like, okay, there's a lot worse things that could happen. Just relax, okay, take it out and chill out.
You got to deal with it though. That's the thing. Like that's all good and dandy. Like saying, yeah, it's okay. But what happens is that's only temporary, because 2 days later, that thing's going to come up until you actually deal with the stress. So you have to deal with it, which means write it down and then come up with a plan on how you're going to deal with the stress. So for instance, like at one point, what was stressing you out for a bit was you came home from Thailand, you had all this like video that you had to put together, and it was taking you just a little longer than you wanted to, but that starts stressing you out, and you just like, you don't realize how much that's stressing you out. Well, you did realize it, but it's kind of like it starts to get you in a bad, you start to be in a bad mood all the time, and like, things aren't right. And once you attack it and go, okay, let me plan out how I'm going to deal with this, and let me talk to whomever I have to do this for, like at least write it down, plan it out, and then start chipping away at it. What will happen is like, I'm actually taking care of this stress. So yeah, it's a stressful thing. It's a barrier. It's something that's is something negative, or it may not even be negative, just something that's stressing you out. But once you start to like tackle it and go, okay, so I'm going to take 3 weeks to, whatever it is that I need to do, chip away at it. And now it's not stressing you out anymore, because you're actually dealing with it. You're not leaving it, or, you had an argument with your wife or your girlfriend and you're not talking for like 10 days. Like, that's ridiculous. You got to talk it out, because it's going to stress you out. There's a person at your work that's fucking bugging the shit out of you every day, and you're just like, you're focused too much on that person. You're not getting your work done. You got to deal with that person. You got to talk to that person. You've got to just say to yourself, you know what? I can't deal with this person anymore, so I'm not going to let it stress me. I can't control what this person does. So, you know what? I don't give a fuck about this person, actually. In fact, I don't care about this person. I'm not going to let what this person says or do affect me, because I have control over my life and how I deal with that person. So I'm just going to move on and do whatever I have to do, and just That's the way that person is. Okay, whatever, laugh it off and do whatever. But you have to tackle it. You can't like leave it alone. You're going to keep the stressors down.
Right. So deal with your stress and also find outlets to relieve your stress.
Right. For sure. Yes. And that's when you kind of like, you gotta kind of monitor your day-to-day stress, right? So monitor what's stressing you out. Okay, this is kind of stressing me out. Why is it stressing me out? Okay, because I'm putting too much emphasis on it. Okay, just like Andy said, okay, just relax, breathe. You know what? I can't control that, because that's what a lot of stress is. Not having control over something that you want control over. But most of the things that stress you out in your life, I shouldn't say that, because there's a lot of things that you can control. The things you can control, focus on. The things you can't control, leave and just be, hey man, I can't control that.
It's good yin and yang there.
Yeah, absolutely. So just focus on the things you control, and you don't have to like alleviate the stress right there. But once you just start doing things that will lead to the alleviation, 100% you feel much better. You're like, okay, good. I my taxes, I'm going to be paying $100 a week or $100 a month to CRA. Okay.
Just deal with it.
That's it. So that's how I'm dealing with paying, I got to pay $1,000 for taxes. I'm not going to pay them. I don't have $1,000 in my hand, but if I do $100 a month or whatever it is, then that stress is gone, right? Because you're dealing with it.
It's dealt with.
Done.
And then just to bring this full circle, once your mind is straight, then your body kind of follows suit, and you're not all stiff all the time, and like it's
better mood.
Yeah, it's just a big exhale, and your body can just tone down like your mind.
Yeah, like if there's a lot of people who have like family stress, for instance, where I don't talk to my mom, I don't talk to my dad, or I talk to my mom every day and I talk to my dad, but I'm just saying, like, there's people like that then that stresses them out, and it's like, well, dude, you have control. Like, whatever the fuck the reason why you're not talking to your mom or your dad, you can either talk to your mom or dad, go to a therapist and talk to a therapist to help figure that shit out. Like, there's things you can do to figure that out, and then that will start to alleviate that stress. But if you're just, I don't talk to my mom because 25 years ago she didn't let me chew gum and I fucking wanted to chew gum, so now I don't talk to her. Are you fucking kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Talk to your goddamn mother. You know what I mean? Like, or go to see a therapist and figure out why you're still holding on to that stress, and then deal with it, because your life is going to be so much better. You're going to be such a better person. You're going to hit you're going to be better than you're going to hit that plateau. You're going to reach your potential. It's all about reaching our potential in life, right?
I think another third option, let it go, or just get over it.
Yeah.
And just like if it's something that you can control or you can't control, sometimes just getting over it and moving on is another option to 100%. Just to eliminate it.
100%. Yeah. Getting over it's that's massive.
Whether
actually.
it's a person, a bad
breakup back in the day.
Yeah, bad relationship or whatever. The amount of times that I've had bad situations with people, and then reach out to them and just be like, hey, settled the dust, and then you feel great about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did that recently with people in high school. Not necessarily bad relationships, but just thanking people for being a friend when they were in high school or whatever it was.
Yeah, because you remember those, like, I know we're going off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think this is important. Like, in life, you're going to reach a point. Like, people, it's not bad to say, but people are put in your life for a reason, and they'll get you to a point, and then you have to move on. You can't stick with the same people forever, because those same people aren't going through the same path you're going through. So, like, if you try to hang on to your friends and your buddies and your party buddies, but you're moving on to the next level where you have a family and kids, and you're trying to still hang on to those party buddies, and they're still in the party zone, but you want to go further, you got to let those people go. They were great for you when you wanted to party. But now you're moving on to the next level of your life where you want a kid, or you want family, or you want to move on to like owning your own business, and that party life won't do it. Then they serve their purpose. And you don't have to like completely let them go, but they serve their purpose. Unless they want to come with you. Hey, you guys are awesome, but now I'm moving on to my own business, and I need to kind of focus on my own business. So this stuff is not going to be with me. If you want to come with me, and if you're also someone who wants their own business, or you're on that path, then come on with me. But you're not going to take those same people. You're not going to keep they serve a purpose up to a point. And once that point's done, you got to move on to the next point. And once that next point's done, you got to move on. Like, that's how life goes.
You know what's hilarious about that? Like, you've already gone through that. I'm currently in motion with that phase of my life. So yeah, it's just good to hear.
Yeah, that's for sure. And it's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
They serve their purpose. They're there, but you are now moving on. It's a new life. You got to surround yourself with new people. You need to grow. In order to grow, you're going to have to surround yourself with people who are in a better place than you at the moment and where you want to get to. Yep. And then once you get to that place, it's the next set of people that, you know, you're going to be hanging out with, and you're going to be leaving those people. Hey, guys, you were great now, but now it's time to move on.
They come up with you.
Or they come up with you, exactly.
Which is great.
All right, next recovery strategy is using good recovery strategy. Sorry, next
what
number 7. This is number 7 is use good recovery strategies. So we talked a little bit about that, foam rolling, ice baths. You're really good at this.
Yeah, so
Andy.
I'll talk. You know, for me, I've gotten really lucky because through the gym we have a lot of great guys that do a lot of great things as far as their businesses go and what they're able to help me out with. So, you know, I'll just list a couple of things that I like to do on a weekly basis just to maximize my recovery, and then I'll credit the people that introduced it into my life. So one thing I like to do is Epsom salt baths, which we talked about earlier, and thanks to my coach Mauricio, who kind of started that and pushed it on to me, and like, hey, I did this today, I did that today, I did this today, and then, you know, you admire your coach or you follow suit. The reason why I like Epsom salt baths is, one, it's a good way to relax. It's good for loosening up your muscles and actually recovering. But more importantly, it's inexpensive to do. And a lot of guys, a lot of fighters, you know, it's hard to spend $100 on massage therapy 3 times a week. It's just, it's impossible to do sometimes. You know, so Epsom salt, you can buy, I think it's £2 or something like that for a stupid price, like $9, and that'll last you 3 or 4 baths. So Epsom salt baths, I like to do that 3 days a week after my heavier days. So at the source point of the week, I'll do an Epsom salt bath, and it's night and day the next day I wake up. So 1, Epsom salt bath. 2 is massage therapy. I'm lucky enough to have a good deal on massage therapy at the clinic in Toronto here, on Dovercourt. Give them a quick shout out. They do a very good work. But yeah, just having, especially as martial artists and, you know, combat athletes, there's going to be a lot of tweaks. Like, you can't predict if somebody cranks, you know, whatever, sprawls and cranks an overhook harder than they should have, and your shoulder kind of just goes in a weird position. You got to get that work done. You can't just keep going back to training with a tweaked shoulder. So Epsom salt bath, massage therapy and physio. 3, supplementation. And, you know, supplementation outside of just supplement products. So, you know, I do all the supplements. So, you know, your protein powders, your BCAAs, your fish oils, your multivitamins, your green supplements if you want, you know, just the basic things. So supplements. And then on a weekly basis, I go out and purchase cases of organic cold pressed juice, which, you know, helps reduce my inflammation, because, you know, they're elixirs of turmeric and ginger and garlic and beets and all organic ingredients, and kale and all these a whole product line of organic juices that I use to, again, speed up my recovery, boost my energy, reduce my inflammation. And then I have a membership at the Float place down the street here, Float Toronto on Queen Street West.
Big up.
And that's more for relaxation and having a place to be next to myself, you know, relaxing at a float. I know you floated as well.
Totally. Love it.
Mm-hmm. Floats are great.
Love it for the body and the mind for sure, but the body and then just the mind that just allows you to think and sometimes you sleep. Something like, it just, whatever happens. It doesn't matter. It's not like you have to do this. You use it for this or that. It's just whatever happens. But you'll find that your mind just opens and you know, all those stressors. Sometimes like I like come up with a fucking complete plan of attack. Yeah. You know, it's crazy, and then I just implement that plan of attack. It's crazy.
When you step out on the street, like on Queen Street, for instance, when I step out on that busy street, like life is so slow after a float. It's like Zen state.
I feel like I just finished taking an E.
Yeah.
I swear to God, like back in the day when I was a big E head, I would be like, when it was pure, it was like 20 years ago, whatever. Like, it was so funny. The first time I floated, like, came out of that float and stepped on the street, I was like, I had the fucking greatest feeling ever. I'm like,
Euphoria.
I feel incredible. And it was like the whole day, like the entire day, and even days after, I felt like incredible, you know?
And it's not that expensive. If you find a good place and get a membership. Sorry, just real quick, I got to shout out Live Organic Foods, which is the cold pressed juice, where I pick up my cold pressed juice. But yeah, the floats are like, and all the Epsilon salts in the floats. So floats is another thing. Something that you and me have both done. Cryotherapy.
Yeah, cryo. Good stuff.
Yep, ice baths.
Amazing stuff.
And
we're gonna be doing a lot of ice baths in Thailand, man.
Yeah,
we're gonna take advantage of the wherever we're training at.
Oh,
there's a place on the street.
Said, yeah, and Shillong
but
Circle.
Shillong. No, there's Shillong Circle. There's on the Soy. There's an ice bath place, and I think Tiger Muay Thai has it.
Okay.
And I think Titan has it, and I think the CrossFit place has it.
So we're definitely gonna use that.
We're gonna use it, yeah.
And then just spot. So like. Keeping your muscles loose, steam room, hot tub, and sauna.
The Russians love the steam rooms. Yeah. I mean, the Russians love the saunas.
I love them too.
Fucking
they're great.
Ruskies, baby.
And cold baths, man. So all of those things combined.
Foam rolling too.
Foam rolling, yeah, mobility stuff, and good diet, obviously. But all of those things combined to speed up your recovery time and feel good. Like, imagine you did all of everything I just said and did it consistently on a weekly basis versus not doing it at all.
Right. Or maybe one or two or three things. Like, you don't have to do everything. Yeah.
Scale up. Go with the cheap shit first.
Totally.
And then when you can afford it, do everything else.
Start foam, do the foam rolling. Like, that's your massage. Remember, you just talked about some people don't have $100 to go to a massage, so they don't have the coverage. But like we do here in Canada, you can, depending on where you work, you can get coverage. Fortunately, Andy doesn't have coverage because I don't have coverage. But you can foam roll, again, 5 minutes a day, but it's just accumulative. You can have the Epsom salt baths. Like, you do that. Well, how many times a week do you do that?
3 times a week.
3 times a week. You can have hot, cold showers. You can do that 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on where you're at. And then if you have money, you can do a float once every 2 weeks, once every week. It depends on how much money you have. Treat yourself once a month. At least just get in there. A physio, if you can get into your physio. Like, you don't have to do all at once and just overwhelm yourself, but there are things you can start to do, like a handful of things: the Epsom salt, the foam rolling, the ice, and the hot and cold showers, and nutrition.
Yep. Just a quick thing about the cold showers. I picked it up actually off my friend Albert Chang, who's a MMA fighter, fought in the Tough House. But
Ultimate Fighter China.
Quick tip he gave me was, because it's really uncomfortable and hard to do a freezing cold bath, just do the last minute of your normal shower as a cold shower.
I just learned something.
Until you get used to it, and then you can start going, okay, last 2 minutes, last 3 minutes, and then eventually you do a full cold shower.
Okay, I'm doing that. I'm starting that. I'm 100% starting that.
Oh, and another thing, hydration.
Oh, water.
As soon as you wake up, hydrate, because you're going to be dehydrated. So put all those things, put it into motion, because it's real things that you can do. It's not kind of just like half wisdom, half knowledge.
Yeah, it's like you can actually do it.
I'm telling you exactly what to do. So.
Exactly. Awesome, man. That was amazing. Number 7 is recovery. Number 8, periodize your program. So here's a cool thing. Certain times of the year you may do strength training. Other times of the year you may do speed. Other times of the year you may do, mobility work. Like, try to periodize your program so that you're not doing the exact same thing all year round. We're always trying to figure out, we got to work on our weaknesses, right? Whether it's, fat loss, whether it's, strength. And I'm talking outside of your normal martial arts, like outside of the martial arts. When you get into the gym, you need to take time to outside, okay, I'm going to go on an 8-week strength program. So this is what I'm focusing on in outside of the gym. I'll do strength, and then I'll add my sprints or cardio or whatever it is, or body weight circuit, just to make sure I still have my cardio conditioning, but my focus is strength. After those 8 weeks, you take a week to deload, and then now I'm going to work on, more muscular endurance, strength endurance, because I built up my strength. Now I'm going to go 8 weeks and work on strength endurance, and now I'm going to work more on that, which means I'm going to do more high intensity circuits, more metabolic circuits using resistance. So kettlebells, dumbbells, sandbags, barbells, like that kind of stuff for 8 weeks. Get a good program, and then you're going to deload, and then maybe now, okay, I'm going to work more on my speed and explosiveness. So I'm going to do like a 6 week speed and explosiveness. So you know what I mean? Like, and then if you're on a fight camp, obviously that's when you focus on your fighting, and, or if your mobility and balance and it sucks, then, you may do like a full on 6 week, 8 week, focus on your more mobility and balance. You should always be working on your core. But the key here, what I'm saying is try to periodize the programs throughout the year, so you're not doing the same stress on the body all the time. You've got to periodize your programs throughout the month, which means throughout the years, which means you got to train. You got to plan. You got to plan it out. You got to kind of sit down and go, okay, so like again, for my sister-in-law Charlotte, like she went on a kettlebell flow binge. Well, you can't do kettlebell flow for the whole year, so then she'll switch off and do like body weight stuff for 8 weeks or something. You know what I mean? Like in that way, when you go back to the kettlebell flow, it's like your growth, like the body just all of a sudden goes boom, and just like your gains multiply because you haven't been doing the same thing over and over again. So you gotta try to change it up and focus on one thing, because you are going to be, if you're training martial arts, you are going to be doing the same stuff over and over again throughout the year. Like you are going to have Muay Thai where you may not be working the same like combos, but you're going to be doing Muay Thai all year. You're going to be doing Jiu-Jitsu all year. You're going to be doing MMA all year. But the strength and conditioning portion of it, that's where you can really make your gains. That's where you can help with your performance. That's where you can help with, weight management, just the way you feel in general, less injuries. That's when you need to periodize that, because you can control the periodization in that, whereas you can't control going to BJJ class and what's going to happen, right? So again, it's really important to periodize your program. Take some time out, every like plan every 4 months or something, or every 6 months or whatever. Just plan what you're going to do, get a good program, and then stick to that program.
So, sorry, it sounds like during fight camp or in season, it's essentially usually the same type of stuff. And then where you make the gains in the work is off camp or off season, if you will. Exactly.
100%. That's exactly it. Yeah. And so that's number 8. Number 9 is cross training. And I think Andy's really good at this, because Andy's Andy's fighting right now. So basically, when I say cross training, I mean like change your workouts to help optimal fitness. So I know that I said you're going to focus on something specific during the periodization period, but like let's say that you're in the periodization, like strength endurance, where you're going to be doing high intensity circuits. Well, you may want to change up the style of intensity per circuit. You're not going to do the same, like, okay, I'm in my strength endurance phase, I'm going to do 45-minute fucking crazy workouts every single day. No, you're going to change up the intensity of that training session when you get to the gym. But Andy does it in the martial arts. And when martial arts training, you change up your intensity.
Yeah, so I just lay out my schedule. So usually it's once at 12 p.m. in the afternoon, and then once around 6 or 7 p.m. at night. That's Monday through Friday, and then Saturday in the morning. So, that's my rough outline. But as I go through the weeks, I kind of just judge the intensity. I have the intensities mapped out, but I judge the intensities on how I'm feeling as well.
Right. But you have the intensity mapped out. Like, so yeah. What does that mean?
So like on my schedule, in the slots, so at 12 p.m., it says Muay Thai, for instance, on Tuesday, 12 p.m. Muay Thai. Next to that, it'll say technical or intense or drills or whatever I plan on doing that day. But sometimes when I show up, I feel great. So, I go, okay, I'm going to push hard. And then at night, it says that I should be going hard, but I already went hard. So I make it low intensity instead. So I just play with it based on how my body's feeling. It's never good to go into every training session and go 100%.
100%.
Because you'll never improve your technique, you need to work on your technical training as well.
Right.
And it's just impossible to do.
Yeah, totally. Well, this is where the overtraining will happen, right?
Yeah.
You're putting too much stress in the body and you can't recover. So I like that you do that. I like that you already have it planned out, because it's, first of all, it's important to have the plan, right? So once you have that plan, and if you go to FunkMMAworkouts.com, you can get a program, complete strength and conditioning program, that'll help you put together and plan your workouts around your training. But it's also good, like I said, to have the plan, because when you say, okay, on this day I'm doing technical in the morning and I'm doing intense at night. And okay, here I'm doing drills, so that's kind of whatever with it maybe. And then at night I'm doing like sparring, which is going to be fucking crazy. This day I'm only doing like light sparring, and then in the evening I'm doing drills. Like, so when you have that broken down, and it doesn't have to be 2 days. Obviously, if you have one a day, then you can, or like one a day, then you can do it throughout the week. Like one day will be hard, one day will just be more technical. You're focusing on technique. Another day will just be like you're gonna add the cardio conditioning portion of it. That's a smart way to do it.
And the tricky thing about it is it's always changing. So the only thing that doesn't change for me is I know Tuesday night MMA is going to be hard and Friday morning MMA is going to be hard. So I work around that schedule. But for the most part, it's always consistently changing, just because as you move through, as the weeks move on, you just get in better shape and you get better. So you can go harder on certain days. So then the whole schedule just ends up flipping upside down. So you always have to just be mindful and keep reevaluating your training schedule and how your body feels.
Exactly. Okay, I like that. So number 10, finally, we're here. Write this down. This is going to be the biggest way to avoid overtraining. The number one reason. This is it. This is like God came down and presented this to the world. And if you follow this, you will go to heaven.
Don't train. No, just kidding.
Listen to your body. Done. If something feels off, you may want to back off. It's better to back off and get, and let your body rest and recover and come back, 100% better than to try to push through it and, set yourself up for injuries, which will set yourself up on the sidelines for 6-7 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and you can't learn, and then you feel like shit, and then the whole thing happens. So listen to your body, and Andy's really good at that. But like, you're gonna learn to listen to your body, because now you have the tools and the knowledge to know what to look for, because before you probably didn't even know what to look for, right? Like if someone keeps saying, okay, listen to your body, I'm like, well, what the fuck am I listening to? Like, what am I supposed to listen for? Now you know what to listen for. The stressors, am I getting colds? Am I feeling, down? Where's my libido? Like, all of the physical and mental things that you should be listening to. Your body is telling you, go hard, go technical, take a day off.
Yeah, and one more thing to add to listening to your body. Might not be, it seems to work well for me is every now and again when your body says that it's sore, push a little bit further, but in a safe way. So don't push further during like a sparring session. Push further like maybe on a bike. Push further in something where you can't injure yourself, just to
test it.
Yeah, build that mental fortitude and find out if you're being a bitch or if your body's really overworked. So every now and again, just test yourself. Whenever you're feeling overtrained and you're listening to your body, hop on a bike and then give a good sprint.
Yeah.
And push past that threshold, because once you know your body's capabilities, once you push that, like I said before, push that past that 1 day of overtraining, it's easy to go back.
Right.
You just recover.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Yeah.
Versus stacking it on top of each other.
Totally. And like yesterday, for instance, last night I went to the gym. We had a very stressful day yesterday. There's a couple things happened during the day that kind of stressed me out. So, and I didn't eat. I didn't eat because of, it was crazy what happened and the timing that all this happened. I wasn't able to eat throughout the day. So what happened to me last night, though, I thought, it's been a stressful day. Some great things happened, but there was a heavy stress that I wasn't used to. So I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to kind of take out that stress. Because sometimes when you do have stress, you get to the gym, and that's another way of getting rid of some stress before you tackle the stress, right? Like, because remember what I said, you have to actually tackle that stress or let it go. So in order for me to let it go, because it already happened, so there's nothing we could do about it. It happened. It was a stressful moment, but there's nothing we could do about it. But sometimes that weighs on you. We're humans. It happens. So you go to the gym and say, okay, I'm going to let it go, but I just need that extra push. So that extra workout at the gym is going to help me to let it go. Well, I got to the gym and I hadn't eaten. Like, I ate a little bit, but it didn't have enough carbs in my body to help me throughout the gym. It was nighttime, so I've had a full day of not fueling my body with the right foods, but I still needed to get to the gym. So I got to the gym. I started, and I put together some crazy circuit, and I started doing that circuit, and I just had I struggled through that circuit, like literally struggled. I was supposed to do like 10 rounds, and I ended up doing 5 rounds. And then I was like, okay, so I knew why. It wasn't like, oh, I'm weak. Like, no, I knew why. I hadn't eaten enough. I had a stressed out day already. So my everything was against me for that workout. So what did I do? Well, I stopped at 5, and then I went upstairs and just did some shadow boxing, because I knew that, like you said, it wasn't, I could have bitched out. I could have just said, you know what, fine, this is it. I'm not, but I thought I do have a little bit left in me that I want to get rid of, but lifting heavy weights and doing fucking snatches is not safe right now, because I don't have that energy and I don't have that mental focus to get through some of these technical lifts. So I went upstairs and I just started shadow boxing and moving around and, just working on technique and working on some of the things that I need to work on with my shadow boxing. And I felt much better, and I was able to get a good, some cardio conditioning out of it. And I just felt better. When I left the gym, I felt way better, because the first part of the workout, I knew that, okay, just didn't have it, but I didn't pull the chute. I went back upstairs and started to shadow box in the boxing gym, and I felt great. I only did like 20 minutes of shadow boxing, but it was a great 20 minutes of shadow boxing. I was able to work on something. I felt like I was productive. And then when I left the gym, I just felt amazing. I'm like, okay, I got it in. I let that thing go that was gone. And it was just a new day. I was just able to. And then the cool thing about it was my wife had been training Muay Thai. Went to sparring, and she texted me and she's like, "Hey, do you want me to bring home some Whole Foods salad?" And I'm like, "Thank you." Like, it's the perfect, because I hadn't eaten and hadn't put the right foods in my body. And so when she came home with that, it was like, this is perfect, So like, showing up is key. Listening to your body and adjusting is key. And then listen, it happens to the best of us. Sometimes you're not able to have the carbs before training. You're not able to, control the stressors that happen. Like, it happens to all of us. But we need to be, when we have all these resources and tools, that we're giving you all these tools, like the knowledge to know, what to do, to recognize, and you can go, okay, I know what's happening here. I understand what's happening here. I need to let go some stress here that I can't control. Let's go to the gym and let's tweak the workout. And then when I get home, lo and behold, the wife comes home with this feast, like a massive salad. And it's a huge salad. It's like $40. It costs like $40.
Heavy.
It's heavy. And I destroyed it. And I felt amazing. I got up this morning and I was just like, okay, this is, we're going to destroy this day. But like I said, it happens to the best of us. So don't get stressed out too much when these things happen. It happens to all of us.
You raise a very good point that I just want to touch on, is if you have any external stress outside of the gym, don't make any decisions until after you get a workout in, because you're going to have the mental clarity to put everything into perspective before you pull the trigger on something, and you'll make a better decision.
That could be the most valuable piece of information right there.
Boom.
No, that is valuable, man. Use the gym as the time, because the best thing for a situation that's stressful or a high stress situation is time. Like, if you get in an argument with your wife or your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whatever it is, or someone, it's better to step back and let time dissolve for both people who can kind of think about what's happening than try to go back and forth, and then you start saying things you don't want, and then it could get fit. Who knows? But when you step back and you have time, what time does, it allows you to reassess. It allows you to relax. It allows your fight or flight system to just fucking reset. And going to the gym is a perfect time, not only to get all that intensity out of your system, but you can think about what's going on and, okay,
clarity.
Man, maybe I need to fucking go back and apologize and listen. It was this, they call it it was a thing of the moment. It was what do you say?
Spur of the moment.
Spur of the moment.
It happened the other day with me when we went to Toronto Top Team to film you did a class for the fighters there.
Yes.
And we were driving back. I hadn't worked out that day. I didn't eat too well that day either. And I was just stressed out because I was going to be late to the gym.
Right.
Okay. Got to the gym late. Got my training in. Thank you, Kyle. He stuck around and trained me for a bit. And then afterwards, I felt so much better. And then I called Funk, Funk called me, and I was like, hey, man, sorry, I was stressed out earlier, out of my system now, and then forgot about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But like, I knew that you were stressed out. I knew what was happening. But like, if I didn't know, because sometimes people don't know, like, I could have been fucking poking at you, and like, could have been even like, the stress could have been bigger. But the time that was apart from whatever happened allowed you to, so time is key, but that time you can buy is in the gym.
And that wasn't even because of you. That
no,
was
it's a situation.
I just wanted to I didn't want to miss my training.
I saw it. That's why I was just like, shit, man, I hope we get here quick. No, I love it. So that's cool, man. And use that, like we said, use that time in the gym to help you get through that. You know what I mean?
Cool. So,
all right. So that's it, man. I think we're done. Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of this. This was more of like, one of those infotainment podcasts where we give you a lot of info, but we can just talk around it too, right? Like, we're not preaching, but we want to give you as much info and tools as you can to have in your toolbox, so that when things and situations happen, you have the knowledge to say, oh, okay, I know, you know what? I know Funk talked about this, and Funk and Andy talked about this, and now I'm more aware of what's happening. And that's kind of like when Andy and I are on the wheels of steel here, that's what we're trying to do, is we're just trying to, it's not about like preaching and just educate. We're going to try to edutain you, but we do think that we have a lot of knowledge that can help anyone out there, a lot of fighters out there specifically. Andy's living the fighter life right now, so he can relate to a lot of things that are happening right now and struggles that people have.
Yeah, and this is really fun, and I'm very passionate about doing these, man. These are great. I love doing these.
Yeah,
if one person listens or 100,000 people listens, I'd still do it.
Totally. So take it. I hope you learned. Can you guys do us a massive favor and comment if you liked what you heard? Comment and leave a